Hey guys, welcome back to Grace Kids. I sure am missing you around here. It's so strange to be here without you, but I'm really glad that we can connect this way, so I get to talk to you at least. So I heard that school is now out even longer till the end of April, and again, I'm sure some of you are cheering and excited, but I know you guys are going to miss your friends and your teachers and everything that happens at school. Of course, learning is so important. So I want to encourage you guys to keep learning at home, read some books, like I said last time, but just take some time to be together with your families, the people that you're with, and just keep talking to each other about everything that's going on. Like I said before, you are welcome to contact me, and if you want to do that, tell your parents to go to our website, find my name on there, and they can shoot me an email and let me know that you'd like to talk, and I'll give you a call. So I would love to talk to you. So we're going to get back in. This is our last week of Shake It Up, and I have to admit it's not quite as exciting shaking things up around here without you guys, but we are going to do our best today. So I need you guys to all get on your feet and get ready to shake it up. We're going to do things a little bit different today. We've done lots of different shake it up dances over the last few weeks, but today we're going to do slow motion shake it up dancing. So get ready to do your best slow motion dancing moves, okay? All right, Beck is here and she is going to put the music on for us. And when that starts, we're gonna shake it up in slow motion. Shake, 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 shake it up. Shake, 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 shake it up. Shake, 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 shake it up. Shake, 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 shake. Come on. All right, good job, guys. I hope you got your parents involved with that. You know, the good thing about this is you can play this again. So you could get your parents in the room and they can do slow motion shake it up dancing with you. Isn't that exciting? All right. Well, today we are going to jump right into our next Bible lesson. Actually, no, we're not. I have one more thing for you. First, we want to talk about last week's lesson. So, last week we had a challenge. We learned about the poor widow in the temple who gave generously. She gave everything she had to God. And so you had a challenge last week to give big to others with a cheerful heart. I'm just wondering, how many of you had a chance to do that? Did you give big to somebody last week with a cheerful heart? If you did, tell somebody at your house about it. And write me a letter. Tell me about it. I'd love to hear about how you gave big last week. And remember that when we give big with a cheerful heart, that other people in the world, they can see Jesus in us, and then they'll want to know Jesus too. So that was your challenge for last week. If you still didn't do it, you can always choose to give big with a cheerful heart. Okay, so let's find out what we're going to learn about this week. And we have a special teacher for you guys this week. We have teacher Caitlin here with us, and she is going to come up and teach us our next Bible lesson.
Hi guys, it's Caitlin here to teach you your lesson, and I have Grant with me to help. So let's get started. In Jesus' final days, he and his disciples traveled to Jerusalem for a huge celebration called Passover. Passover is a celebration of when God led the Israelites out of slavery into Egypt. As a part of the celebration, Jesus and his disciples are doing something really special. Let's see if mystery box number 1 can help us figure out what it is. All right, let's shake it up. What do you think's in there? Let's see. Silverware. One night, Jesus was eating a special Passover dinner with his disciples. It was the last supper he would ever have before dying on the cross. In the middle of the meal, Jesus got up from the table and wrapped a towel around his waist. When he was finished, Jesus poured water into a wash bowl. Let's figure out what Jesus was doing. Let's look at box 2. Shake it up.
Shake, 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 shake it up. Shake, 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 shake it up.
Let's see what's inside. A sandal. As Jesus knelt by the wash basin, he asked his disciples to remove their sandals so that he could wash their feet for them. Let me show you. Who here thinks they have the stinkiest, dirtiest feet? I think probably Grant. So, back then, it was normal to take off your sandals and wash your feet when you went into someone's house. Other foot. But washing feet was a dirty job. That's why the lowest of the household servants was usually the one that did it. But this time, Jesus wanted to do it himself. Can you imagine Jesus, the Son of God, washing someone's stinky feet? Imagine this though. In Jesus' time, washing someone's feet was even grosser than it is today. Let's see why in box number 3. Shake it up.
Shake, 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 shake it up.
All right, let's see what's inside. It's dirt. In Jesus' time, the streets were made of dirt, and they were filled with garbage and animal droppings. We have to make his feet like they were back then. On top of that, everyone wore sandals without socks, so their feet got really, really dirty. But that didn't stop Jesus. As each of his disciples removed their sandals, Jesus placed their feet in the wash basin and washed off the dirt. Then he used the towel to dry their feet. One of Jesus' disciples, Simon Peter, couldn't believe that Jesus was doing the work of a lowly house servant. So when it was his turn, let's look in the Bible and see what he said. Peter said, "No, you will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "If I don't wash your feet, then you are not one of my people." When Peter finally understood what Jesus was saying, he too let Jesus wash his feet. When Jesus was finished, he removed his towel and gave his disciples a challenge. Let's look in box 4 to see what it was.
Shake, 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 shake it up. Shake, 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 shake it up.
Let's see. Another towel. Jesus said to them, "I am your teacher, the Lord of all, yet I am willing to wash your feet. So you too should wash each other's feet. I have given you an example. You should do for others what I have done for you." Let's look at our questions from our story today. The first question: what was your favorite part of this story? Talk to someone who's with you and tell them your favorite part. The next question: why do you think Jesus washed his disciples' feet? Tell someone who's with you. having to wash someone's dirty, stinky feet? Sounds pretty gross. But that's what Jesus did for his disciples so that he could teach them one of the most important lessons. Let's imagine together for a second. Let's say I have a handful of candy, but I don't have enough for everyone, but I ask you to all line up when I say go. I say go. What do? Do you run to the front of the line? Or do you just walk, hoping that there's enough candy for you at the end? A lot of us race to be the first in line. We do that a lot, don't we? We live in a world where everyone wants to be first. The first one in line, the first one to get our food, the first one to win a race. The world teaches us that the first is the best and the last is the worst. But Jesus teaches us something different. In fact, it's our Bible verse today. Let's read it together. Mark 9:35. All too servant and last, very the be must first, be to wants who anyone. Wait, that verse doesn't sound right. Let's try it again. All too servant and last, very the be must first, be to wants who anyone. Still doesn't make sense. Can you figure out what's wrong with it? What do you think, Grant?
I think it's backwards.
Is it backwards? Let's try reading the verse the other way. Anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and servant to all. Mark 9:35. Wow, the verse was backwards, but in more than one way. Jesus says that we should take what the world tells us and turn it backwards. If you want to be first, you have to put yourself last. Instead of thinking about yourself, you should think about others. Instead of wanting people to serve you, you should want to serve others. In God's kingdom, the person who is last and servant to all will be first in God's eyes. Even though Jesus is the Son of God, the Lord of all, the King of everything, he puts himself last by serving his disciples and washing their feet. And if Jesus isn't too important to serve others, then neither are we. Jesus served others, and he wants us to do the same. So, here's my Shake It Up challenge for you this week. Let's do it backwards. Let's look for as many ways as we can to serve others and put them first. Let's pray about that. God, thank you for bringing us together today, even if it's not how we normally are together. Lord, I pray that you would show us ways to put others first in our lives. Amen.
Hey guys, wasn't that pretty incredible? Can you imagine God, the King of the universe, Jesus, coming to earth and serving people, washing feet? Wow, it really makes me think about what I do with my time, how I treat people. And that's what we want to do now. We want to have our quiet time. And just because you're at home doesn't mean that you can't have your quiet time with God. In fact, you have even more time that you can spend with God. And I want to challenge you to not just have a quiet time today, but think about having a quiet time every day with Jesus while you're home. I would imagine that if you do that, when we get back together, because we will be together again, you guys will have so many stories to share about what God taught you, what God told you, what you learned. Because remember, God talks to you in a special way. It's going to be different than what he tells me. He's going to want me to serve people in a different way than he wants you to serve people. There's different people in my life. They have different needs. But I guarantee that God does want you to serve the people around you. So think about it. Pray about it. Ask God to show you how he wants you to serve people this week. What do you think your parents would do if this week, when something came up at home, there was a board game to play, or you were gonna a toy to play with or something. What if you were the one that said, no, let my brother have that, or you go first, or they would be in shock, don't you think? Let's try that this week. All right, but specifically for a quiet time, I want to let you know that the papers that we normally have here at church are on the website. So ask your parents to help you. They can download the paper and you can print it at home, or you can just look at it and write the questions down. But let's look and see what some of the questions are that are a part of our quiet time this week. So remember, you could do all the quiet time stations right at home. So the first one, the prayer station, was write a prayer to God and ask Him to show you some ways to serve others and put them first this week. Ask Him, who does He want you to serve? The journal station, make a list of all the ways you can serve other people this week. You're probably going to have a lot of time at home with your families this week, so just ask God, how can you serve each person that you're with this week? How can you serve your parents, your brothers or sisters, or maybe anybody else that you're around this week? You might even be able to serve people that aren't even with you, even just by writing a letter or sending something to somebody. You could do something like that. In the Bible station this week, we were going to read John 13, 1 through 17. And then draw a picture of the story, or write to God your favorite part of the story and why you liked it. So take some time doing that this week. And remember, if you don't have a Bible at home, shoot me an email. We'll figure out how to get you a Bible. Art station, draw a picture of one way you can serve someone this coming week. So I'm going to be praying for you guys, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about what God tells you and what He teaches you and how you're growing in your relationship with Him and in your serving of other people. I love you guys, and I can't wait till we're back together again.